My little pony, my little pony.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Bronyville, episode 11, recorded on July 3rd, 2011. I'm your host, AppleCider, doing his usual board and announcement and all other fun stuff. Let me introduce my co-host correctly this time. Hey there, Chef Sandy.
Hello.
Didn't decide to call you me this time.
Nope, I am not, in fact, your clone.
Yeah, that would be kind of, I could do a show talking to myself, but I think a few ponies would think I'd be insane.
Yes.
Yeah, probably most likely. We do have a very special, very super fun guest. Happy party time. I'll just add some extra words to it. But we do have as we mentioned last episode, we have a actual real to serious Sequestria, or not really part of it. Tell you what, let me let him do the introductions because I'm super psyched about this. So who do we got on the other side?
Hi, Josh Grelle, go by Rainbrony in the Brony community. I'm a voice actor for various studios mostly in Texas and a couple out there in California, notably Funimation Entertainment, Okatron 5000, the now gone ADV Films, and 48 Windows. And I'm happy to be here.
Very awesome. If you could just give like one or two characters that you might be best recognized for to kind of drop it across. Do you have like one or two in the hat, or is it
one or two? Well, most recently, I guess that was announced would be Akihisa Yoshi in Baka and Test Summon the Beast. Also was recently in Hetalia, Axis Powers as Lithuania. And hang on. I got about 100 different titles.
No problem.
Remember them all.
Oh, no problem. I just wanted to fish it for you. Like, so which of these were you best at? Like, oh God.
Gotcha. Well, I guess most notably would be Kenichi, the Tiniest disciple. I played Kenichi Shirahama and Koichi Hayase in Line Barrels of Iron and a whole bunch of other really fun stuff over the past 7 years.
Yep, very, very awesome. You could always, I'm sure, just IMDb and see. I'm sure the first time he sent a message to me, I'm like, who is this? Oh, hey, he's done stuff.
Yep. So, I met Chef at Acon a couple weeks ago, and we just had a lot of fun.
Yep.
I most recently heard your work in Soul Eater.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Oxford, that dude.
Yep.
That bald bastard. He's just,
yeah.
I love the guy. I really do.
So this will be a very fun episode, as every pony that listens to this knows. I have a future hope to do some VO work. I know that there's some other bronies that have been doing VO work for different things. So we have some fun topics to kind of bring up. First off, we're going to talk a lot about some pony love, and then kind of get into some fun stuff about how this VO it's fun stuff. It's so exciting.
It's fun. It's just amazing. It's fun. We're just going to do it.
So before I forget, as I always do, let's break this down into the introduction part. So we need to know first, favorite character, favorite episode.
I'm a Dash fan.
I'm getting double teamed.
Dash all the way. Favorite episode, actually, I cheated. I wrote two down. Sonic Rainboom. Because
awesome episode.
Got to give my Dash love. I mean, I still get goosebumps every time she hits it. Every time, where it's just Sonic Rainboom all the way. Second favorite episode, just slightly beneath Rainboom, is Best Night Ever because of the music.
Yeah, solo is really good.
Solo is very good.
Dash solo, man. You gotta love the Dash solos.
Just completely like, oh, okay, this is a nice song, and it's just like guitars, and you're like, oh, I know who's coming next.
Yeah.
Like somebody's going to rock it.
Flying, sparks are flying. Stuff's about to get real. Manure's about to get real, son.
Hey, you took it someplace different. So let's go ahead and do this first one. Favorite aspect of the show. Why do you find this show so addictive that you purchase a car, and want to potentially change its license plate to be very Rainbow Dashian?
Yes. I got a brand new. We'll discuss the car later.
No problem.
Love that. No. Do what?
Oh, no, you can go for it, dude.
Dude, just got, like, seriously, last Monday, just got, it's a 2011 Chevrolet Cruze Eco, so it's friendly to the ecosystem, and it gets about 44 miles to the gallon open highway, goes nice and quick, speeds up great, drives great. It's Dash Blue. I'm going to get, so I named her Dash. And I'm going to get a license plate on it that's either going to read R Dash or just Dash on it. And some friends actually, after I posted pictures of it on Facebook, within 5 minutes, somebody was like, got you a gift. I was like, what are you talking about? They bought me 2 Rainbow Dash cutie mark stickers that I'm going to put on either side of the back end of the car, and it's going to be the car's cutie marks. So... Can you tell I like Dash?
Just a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm ready.
My car's silver, but I still want to get me a couple of them cutie mark stickers.
Yeah. I want to get a Rainbow Dash beanie like nobody's business. Someone I'm sure I've seen something, but somebody, if they haven't made it yet, needs to make a black beanie or a blue beanie with the cutie mark on it, because I will wear that everywhere. I'll wear it everywhere.
I think I've seen some of the anime hats where they actually have like the ones where it looks like the characters head themselves, where it's like you just kind of skinned them and took their skull. Well, maybe not exactly, but
so Cupcakes is a reality at that point.
Cupcakes has always been a reality. But moving on. So, all right, and this is kind of an interesting thing, because especially when we have other male guests that are really into the show, the reaction around them is usually like, maybe not as much. But I think in your situation, since you're in VO, it might be a little bit more acceptable.
I don't know about that. I mean, you still got it's whatever. People know me. Those who know me don't question it. They're just like, well, of course you like ponies. It's whatever. People who I meet and then who find out that I like ponies, I've had many occasions where it's like, oh, hell yeah, ponies. And they end up being bronies too. Or they're just like, somehow that makes sense that you like it. It's cool. Nobody ever really questions it. I've had a couple of raised eyebrows, but usually I'm just like, what? I like ponies. I'm just like, get over it. Who cares?
Just put on your shades, just deal with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. That flank. But that's pretty much it. I don't really get any adverse reactions to it, and any time that I do, anybody kind of arches the eyebrow, it's always just like well, whatever, deal with it, bro.
Just smile at them.
Yeah, pretty much. Just smile.
Just repeat to yourself, it's just a show.
Yeah.
But
whatever.
Very, very cool.
Oh, yeah. Well,
go. No, you do it. Go.
Previous episode, the previous question, the favorite aspect of the show.
Yeah, go for it.
It's kind of hard to pin down, man. Everything from music to writing to the performances. There's not really a lot I don't like. The general feeling of nostalgia that I get or magic I feel when I watch the show. It's like I've been transported back to the 90s where to me, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Mighty Max, and the old Sonic Sat-Am, and the Disney Afternoon, all those shows back then that were literally just like, that were a core part of my very essence as a child.
Oh, and yeah.
Then in the 2000s, when once we kind of moved to the new lips, excuse me, can't talk today. When we moved into, the next century, cartoons kind of started to take started to hit a downward spiral, I guess, at least for me, in terms of they ceased to be these very well handled and well loved crafted pieces of arts, and were just low quality garbage, for at least in a lot of the things that I was seeing. And back then all I ever really watched was Cartoon Network. But MLP just kind of, when I heard about it, actually heard about it from another voice actor friend of mine down in Austin. His name is Glenn Fraser. And he calls me up like 2 or 3 months ago. We hadn't talked to each other in about 2 years. And he says, hey, dude, how you doing? Well, I'm good, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. He's like, how about you? What are you doing? He's like, I'm watching My Little Pony. And, of course, the conversation just sort of takes that turn. I'm like, you're watching what? He's like, no, man, no, it's awesome, seriously. And he starts going into the whole spiel for me about, who created it, what the creative team behind it, and just the style of the show, and he links me a video that somebody had made using the old cartoon theme song that was just titled "Why My Little Pony Is Awesome" or "My Little Pony Friendship at Magic is Awesome," and it was just a little like 30-45 second video, and I watched it. And it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I immediately went and got the first 2 episodes off iTunes.
It's so crazy, just that way.
It is. And after that, I just called him up. I was like, "You bastard! You don't know what you've done to me." And I immediately call my little brother, my mother, and my dad, and I'm saying, "We're gonna play a game. I'm gonna say 6 words that I guarantee you in a million years you'll never guess." And they try to guess. And then they can't, of course, and they're like, "Okay, what is it?" We give up, and I say, "My Little Pony is awesome." and
they're just like, "We disown you."
No, they're just, well, my dad was the only one that was like, okay, whatever. If you've liked Stranger, and my mom was just like, "Oh, I used to love that show. I love it." And I told her she reminds me of Pinkie Pie, and she started to cry because she thought that was the coolest thing ever. My little brother was just like, "That's cool." Go play video games?
I'll play video games. I'm sure he's in the back just being like, "And now change my icon to Twilight Sparkle." Yep.
Change it to Dash, man. Change it to Dash.
Man, you are all in up on some Dash.
Falling on some Dash. And some, actually, you know what? Luna as well. I really, really like Luna, Vinyl Scratch. And for a while, I really, really liked Lyra. I still like Lyra. I think she, as far as fan-created content, she's one of the funniest fan-loved background ponies that we've got.
This community is just so weird with just the fact of just like, wait, there's 2 characters sitting on a bench, one of them sitting kind of slouched. What's that about? Oh, God, and just, running with them. Like, okay, she's got a heart. Just go, yes, okay, we got her backstory now. Go, run. This community is just oatmeal. It's amazing.
Yes, oatmeal.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on. You're just going to start going down the list at this point. You're just like a Doctor Who's. My pony folder, which is nowhere near organized. It's just I save everything into my Ponyrific folder. I've got at least, what do I got here? 3,000 items right now. Probably, I'm probably slacking, but I've got so much Dash, so much. I'm just scrolling down. There's Dash, there's Luna, there's Vinyl, there's Dash again, there's Derpy. It's just everything.
Yeah.
I just let Pony, or you go ahead, Chef.
I was going to say, my particular folder is 25.27 gigs with 3,832 items.
Yeah, I just simply use Ponyburu to find everything I need, and all I have is all the high definition episodes on my portable drive. So if ever I'm somewhere and just like, "Oh, I really like My Little Pony," and somebody's like, "My Little Pony," I'm just like, you brought it on you. You said the wrong word.
I was watching it on a plane ride to a convention a few months back, and the person sitting next to me was like, "What is that? I really like that animation style. It's My Little Pony." And he immediately shut up and kind of averted his eyes for a bit. But I caught him catching peeks throughout the entire plane ride. He just kept looking over. I was like, "You want to watch? I'll give you headphones." He's like, "No, I'm good."
Just have it play on the overhead.
He went home and he looked it up. I guarantee you.
Yep.
Made a brony on that plane flight.
Yeah.
Well, I have all of them on my phone, so if people are like, "What is this pony thing?" I was like, "Well, let me whip this out." That's all right. AppleCider, here you go.
This is all you need to know. Well, let's go ahead and move on. We got some emails, we got news, we got a whole bunch of craziness to go through, including one really insane picture that I think I'm going to let go and let our esteemed guests read. But I'll go ahead and hit the first one. Chef could do second, third, and I'll start on the fourth. So let's run these through. So first one, Apple Gothic. Hey guys, writing into you from Seattle. Boy, that one always just gets me. Brony, Seattle, pretty much. And I wanted to say that it's interesting to listen to your show while playing TF2. I wanted to say that I've successfully converted my entire family to the herd on accident, too. While I was sitting at home, being still 17, I was flipping through channels when I noticed the Hub was doing an FIM episode. I was excited to find out that it was one of my favorite episodes, Party of One, and sat down and watched it with my dad, walking into the living room just as the episode was starting, just past the opening, and actually sat down and watched it with me. By the time, spoilers, Pinky was chasing Rainbow Dash, the six of us, two parents, one 20-something-year-old brother, and two young sisters were enjoying the episode. Since it was a Saturday, we marathoned the entire first season that day and night.
That's amazing.
Oh, my.
That's badass.
That is a lot of Pinkie Pie. That is a lot of friendship.
Yeah.
Eventually, most of our extended family started watching it, all because Creepy Pie was an instant hit in the episode. My question is, so here's the question. Do you think the idea from Creepy Pie was inspired by the Psychofic cupcakes? Because I heard it came out several episodes prior to Party of One. Keep rocking the mic. Alan St. John, Brony name Apple Gothic, text fits over the name, and he included a picture of himself. P.S. I also do some voice work and would like to be on the show. If not, maybe this email could be read on it. And a pic was enclosed. So, very cool. Thanks a lot for the email. Let's get to it. And I have a pretty simple answer on this. But I'll go with everybody else. So, do you think cupcakes led to Party of One?
No.
Maybe.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the writing of the show was done well before it started airing. So it is one of those things that somebody saw that Pinkie Pie had the capacity to be this really creepy, crazy character well before the episode was aired. And then only later, it was a sort of a scary synchronicity that both of them sort of ended up the same way. Minus the whole, cupcakes part.
There was no lottery. There was no Griffin heads. There was
no.
I think, as I said, they storyboard everything months in advance. I mean, months. At this point, season 2 is just starting up. It's finishing up its storyboarding process, and they're just getting to the animation. So It takes a long time. So I really think it must have been coincidence that it was, Pinkie Pie goes insane, and it's Rainbow Dash who shows up to bring her over. I think it was total coincidence. Then besides, who else would you have? Who else makes sense to bring her over? Maybe Applejack, but it makes much sense to just like, you're fast, go grab her and bring her over here.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It would be fun to imagine that, but I think opposed to Derpy, where they could simply just go, okay, we'll just squirk her eyes in this one frame because she was already there, and then just to appease them. I think that was a conscious decision. All right, Chef, we got Ghost Wolf.
All right. I just wanted to tell you guys about a project and hope you could mention it on the air, as we need help of as many bronies as possible, that Diomedes started up on PonyChan, and that I have joined to lend some statistics and science help to the Pony Study of Science. Bill Nye reference, by the way, if you missed it. Diomedes said it best. Unlike much of the Brony community, we can't draw, edit videos, and make video games or write fan fiction, but we can science with an exclamation point. So we are starting a study to solve a major topic of controversy in the Brony community. No, it's not who the best pony is. Rarity, of course. Who needs science to prove that? But what is the best episode to use to introduce people to the series? I think it is a common experience for all bronies that after weeks of pestering our friends, the best we can hope for is a fine, I'll watch one episode and then you have to stop bugging me about ponies. So, we must then decide which episode to show to best capture their interest.
So
he goes on to talk about a study to scientifically prove which episodes are the most likely to convert others to the herd.
Yeah,
ponies are serious business.
It is it's detailed of like asking friends, then showing them one episode, then emailing back and explaining the participants. And then, there's a $20 gift certificates to Amazon or iTunes and a random draw. Like, it's serious.
Jeez.
Like, wow. I'm just trying to figure out what is the most potent episode to convert someone. That's pretty crazy. I think I'll stick with the non-scientific approach and just go with what I think the person would like. Because there will be some people who I think would, like a Party of One, would appreciate seeing somebody completely lose their brain. But I think then there's the Applebuck season or if there's somebody who's an artist and is a really creative type, I think they would immediately kick in with the dress episode of just I know that. So I think it is to taste. But what's your thoughts?
I think Dragonshy or Applebuck season is a good one. Swarm of the Century, maybe.
I kind of always go with the first. Just go with the pilot.
Pilot's a good one. That way you don't have to go back and kind of explain everything.
Right. I mean, I don't know, man. Every person that I've converted so far, I've always just started with the first. Even people that are close to me, and I know their personal preferences, and that they'd probably like this episode better than this. I think it's always best to just start with the beginning, because even though the pilot episodes themselves, they're not necessarily the best of the bunch, they are a great setup. They show all the characters, introduce them in a fairly decent manner, and it's super fun, especially the whole Nightmare Moon. How can you not show somebody Nightmare Moon?
Yeah, I have to say, I do like usually starting from the pilots. Yeah, it's. I mean, there's so few episodes I would be like, nah, you probably shouldn't start with that one. You should probably start with a different one. But I'm trying. It's harder for me to think of episodes I wouldn't show first than it is trying to think of ones that I would. So maybe we do need some sort of scientific explanation. If you guys want to help out and lend your information of how your conversions went, supposedly there's a thread over on PonyChan for that.
Only other episode I would even think of showing them first is Ticketmaster, because it does the exact same thing. We systematically introduce all of the ponies, one after another, and still stay true to showing us their personalities, and you kind of get a feel for who they are within the first couple of seconds of them being on screen. It's a really nice. If you don't want to have to introduce them to a two-parter, then I'd say go Ticketmaster. But the two-parter can work to your advantage too, because if by the end of the first one they're like, oh my God, it's to be continued. If they want to watch the second one, you got them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a good choice. Yeah, it's always going to be. I'm not sure that science will be able to save us. I think it's not going to be very conclusive. But here's to hoping. Science. I said science again. Okay. Hey there, Mr. Rainbrony. You should probably read that next one because it's pretty cool.
All right, cool. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone at Bronyville. I just wanted to say, love the show. The material is fun to listen to and provides a ponyrific escape from my mundane kitchen job. I'm sorry I couldn't email you guys in time for the special email podcast. I was juggling around 3 birthday parties, including my own. Pinky would be so proud. So I was pretty stacked during the week. Anyway, speaking of birthdays, I wanted to share with you a special present I got for myself on my 22nd birthday. There's a picture attached for your viewing pleasure. I hope you like it as much as I do. Keep up the great work with Bronyville, and may Celestia be with you. And, oh my God.
So it looks like it's not the only Rarity fan this week, because this is a tattoo. This is a major.
That is a full-on tattoo, man. Look at that thing. That is badass.
It's a big, really good mark. Pretty much, just to explain, looks like I'm going to have to turn to figure out, left arm. He has a full, and I mean, we're talking sizable, like 6 inches, cutie mark of Rarity's cutie mark with the 3 gems. So
yeah. And he's got kind of a really cool paint effect going in behind them too.
Yeah. It's a good looking tat.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome tat, actually.
It is oatmeal. That is insane. That is that is both amazing and just like it's hard to. Yeah, it totally.
He's a dedicated fan.
Since it is an image, if you want to take a look at it, I would highly suggest going over to BronyShow.com, clicking on the show notes, and then you'll be able to see the image of this crazy tattoo. So very, very, very cool there.
Scroll on down, check it out.
Yeah, nice to see that. I didn't grab the name. I might have to find the name afterwards, but it's super cool. That's awesome. Yeah, very cool having it's a more fun little body. I should get something, but I think I get beat up for it. Here, all right, let me do this one. Ezekiel writes, "Hey, you guys over at Bronyville. I just wanted to drop an email saying how much I love the podcast. I listen to it every week, and it's an excellent way to get my pony fix like a lot of people. I wanted to say two things I hope get translated properly. First and foremost, a few bronies and I run a World of Warcraft Brony guild and are having a great time. The only downside is we only have a handful of ponies playing with us. I was hoping that if it wasn't too much trouble that you guys that you could toss in a 3-second advertisement for our guild on our show. I hoped if there was a one way pony fans could hear about the group, it was through you guys, and I hope you could pass along the message. The guild is on the U.S. Arathor server, and we're on the Alliance side, and the guild name is Friendship is Magic, and Rainbow Crash and Friedman are the officers. Second thing I wanted to say is that Rainbow Dash is totally straight, and that is all. Thanks for your time, and anxiously awaiting your next podcast." So that's very awesome. Cool. I used to play WoW a ton, so same here. Yeah,
I've been clean since February.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah, I've been off that wagon. I was just like, all right, and level 85, done. I'm out. Woo!
I'm gonna get my 6-month chip soon.
Yep. And then will you go back? Will you be back?
Yeah, U.S. Arathor, Alliance side, Alliance Scum.
I know.
Really. Alliance Scum. No.
Alliance bad.
It's like all my 85s were Horde, so the highest I ever got was 72.
Just so you know, my girlfriend is Alliance. Boo. However.
House of...
Quiet you. I don't want you bringing up any false lies about me having Alliance characters.
Yes, you do.
All right.
You're not a paladin.
Hold on. Need to hide my mind.
Yeah, but see, Draenei are still cool because they have like hooves and tails and don't look like, filthy humans.
Oh, dude, go in there and make a female, call it Rainbow Dash. There we go. That's fine. Yeah, honey, we're doing a podcast. We're doing a podcast here. I just want to.
Don't talk about the Lions.
The Lions are.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, yeah, very cool. We pimped you for more than 3 seconds and had a heated argument with my girlfriend. So there you go. I hope that was plenty enough for you. And
as for Rainbow Dash, she can be whatever she likes.
Yep, she can be whatever she likes. All right, news time. It's getting hot in here, so let's go do some news. So we got 3 little pieces here, all of it from our great friends over at Equestria Dailies. Thanks, Seth, Serial, and all the guys that keep us informed and offer us this great news. And the first one is really tribute to them, the Will Anderson interview. So our love for Daniel Ingram is, much great, big, huge. Woo! Yay, we love you. Will Anderson, very much in that same vein. He's the one that does most of the background music. So any of the times you hear Pinky lose her brain, you can get to listen to some of his work where I have never really paid attention, but wow, his stuff is good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like each time you go into the show and you're just like, let me appreciate something else. I love the art. I love the style. I love the voice acting. I love this. And it's just like, wow, even the background music is freaking good.
Yeah.
Yep.
They go all out, man.
Yeah. So just to say, there's several questions that he answers. Pretty much when asked, why is the show so popular and so good, he says, dude, it's because, it's because Faust is awesome. He's like, it was a world that was built and totally made great by her. Then he goes into some of the fun things about making suggestions, like when trying to come up with a theme for photo finish, which is absolutely great. She's just like, yeah, what was I going to do? Just progressive German, techno. That's the only thing I could choose. So very, very cool. I mean, it goes on for 11 questions, pretty quick read, and just kind of goes through his side of being the main side audio dude over there at My Little Pony. So super, super cool. Okay, tell you what, Chef, how about you cover this one? Because this is the second one is pretty much lit up the internet for a little while.
Yes, indeed. This second item is the Pony Billboard off in California. Let's see. doesn't actually list exactly where it is, but it is a billboard owned by the Hub and has the Bridal Maids image. If you've been on Equestria Daily, you've seen the image. It's them sort of mimicking the pose of the Bridesmaids movie poster, which it's just nice to see the show getting some advertising, even if it is a little confusing. If you Google Bridal Maids, it'll be like, didn't you mean Bridesmaids? But it's still cool to see Pony more in the real world.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, they do have the location. It's on Barnum Boulevard, pretty close to where Universal Studios is. So if you are in LA and you know where that is, you can supposedly that's a pretty popular street, and it kind of just dead ends right into that billboard. You actually launch right off of it, but which would be amazing. But the cool thing is that, yeah, it's there. It looks like it's owned by the Hub. It's owned by Hasbro, so it's constantly in rotation with more Hub stuff. But yeah, if it's pretty crazy just to be like, oh, that's a really big Fluttershy, and man, she's mad. She is mad at me. I'm sorry. What did I do?
She's not going to have any more of your horse apples.
No, none of them at all. At least Pinky still seems she's happy with it. Pinky is forever happy. Okay, so we got that one. Let's move along, and let's see. Our next one is, so the Brony's got a little bit of news on Australia, down under place. So, yeah, there was an article that was posted up, and it was called Show Pony. Let's see if I can find out. And supposedly just by the article, it looks really well. It has the Brony signature logo on it, the same one that we use for the podcast of "We are Bronies, we will forgive and forget." You know, that great little seal. And it just kind of goes about, hey, there's a whole bunch of people who like this My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. It's a unique group of adult males. They're pretty cool guys. You know, They've got other shows that they like, but, you know, they all kind of surrounded around that, and that's pretty cool. You know, surprise, somebody's talked about it and was like, yeah, this is a group of people. It seems like it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And the author, Sam Burnett, you know, apparently looked into it and was like, hey, this isn't too bad. Yeah. So good. It's always good.
Good press, hooray! There we go. A nice change up from the, you know. Well, I guess the wait started bad and got better. You know, it hasn't been like, we haven't seen too many like of the really scathing stuff pop up. But you know, it's enough just to be like, But this is a good thing to see, of just like, dude, check it out. Here's a full color picture of a whole bunch of Bronies and, you know, all this, and it looked like it was laid out well, and it was one whole page. So it's like, that's pretty cool. I hope that got a lot of circulation. It was kind of neat. Very cool. And that will do us for news, which leads us into the next section, where me and Chef talk about our favorite reads of the week. And actually, what we're going to change this up a little bit. Me and Chef described this. Every week we are going to do fanfics. This week we are going to do our fanfics. But what we would like you to do is next week we're going to do your fanfics. That way we don't have to read as much, which is, you know, taxing. So what we want you to do is, if you have any fanfics that you really like, go ahead and send an email across to us at bronyville@gmail.com. State, you know, hey, I really like this. Give us a short little blurb of why, and we'll read them on the air, you know, as long as we don't get inundated with a billion of them. So yeah, we'll do that, and we'll alternate between weeks. So since this is our on week, I've been using my mouth face a lot. Hey, Chef, what did you choose?
My choice for this week was a fun little read called "In Search of Big Hoof" by Lucre 5. So Lucris, I don't know. It is a CMC story with Cheerly leading the troop of Philly Scouts into the forest. And they're Cutie Mark Crusaders, cryptid hunters, and stuff like that. It is a fun, silly little read. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. There's a lot of references to horse apples, if you know what those are. There's a lot, but it's actually, I started reading and I was like, that's pretty cool. That's rather neat, and it's also, if you want, pretty much we've had every character lose their mind. So if you want to see Cheerleader lose her mind, you should probably read that. It was a pretty good one. So for mine this week, I completely stumbled into this one just by reading, comments and noticing that that Sethisto had said, "Oh my God, this updated." So I was like, I've not heard it, so let me check it out. So the title is Luna's Goodwill Tour by WTFHIW. I will say this is probably my top number one fic I've read yet. This is amazing. It's huge. Chapter 1 was 42 pages.
Good Lord.
Enormous. And it is amazing. I have literally, the characterization is spot on. Like, I'm reading it and I'm going like, I'm kind of writing a book right now, and I thought I had a good Applejack, and that's really good Applejack. Oh God, it's the story is pretty basic. Your Luna is like, hey, I'm back, and Celestia's like, you know what, you should go do a tour and be with the regular people and just be with them for a bit. And so it's like, you're going to Ponyville, and it's just like, what happens when she just kind of shows up and all the kind of bits and pieces that go with it. And it's so well done. It is so, you understand that you're probably going to be spending a little while reading it because chapter 1 is 42 pages. But I was literally like reading this at the middle of the night and saying, okay, I need to go to bed and I will read this when I get up in the morning. Like, I just had to keep going. So,
yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I was actually had that in a queue. I had opened up I had all of Out in the Cold plus its 2 side stories plus stuff, and I read those first, and it was like 1 a.m, and then I got to Luna's Goodwill Tour and was like, oh man, I'm just gonna go to bed. I can't defeat this tonight.
Yeah, it's the only thing I will say is it is supposedly it is part of a 4 or 5 chapter story that's going to be coming out, and it is massive. It is 42 pages, and only chapter 2 has been posted at this point. So it does obviously take a little bit of time for them to write it. So, if you get all the way through it and you get through those 2, you might be sitting around waiting to get some more. But I highly recommend it. It is so fun. It is so interesting. So
how many chapters are there?
There's only 2 right now.
Only 2. Okay.
Only 2.
Oh, so it's incomplete at the moment.
Incomplete at the moment, but I said 2 chapters. But good Lord, it's the first one was 42 pages. I didn't even check to see what the second one was, but it's so fun. I love that story. I think I might have to actually start picking up some more epics because that kind of just really made me interested to kind of push away some of the shorter stories and go with some of the larger ones. So it was. Yeah. It was super, super fun. Speaking of super fun, Chef, it's MAME time. And
all right.
This time
you have such skill, my friend.
Yeah.
You can pick such fantastic memes.
Well, this meme is weird. This meme is a little weird, but just tell me, I've noticed a lot of talk about plot. People liking plot? That doesn't make sense. The show has plot. I've seen it. So, but what is this? These pictures and people liking plot. That's weird.
Well, you really kind of put me on the spot this week. I was like, well, okay, clearly there's going to have to be something that I can use to explain it pretty well. It's kind of like reading men's magazines for the articles, because you see it pop up a lot with, say, fan service the anime, and it's like a collage of panty shots or whatever, side boobs, and I watch it for the plot. Well, there's a similar image featuring all the pert pony backsides, pert pony posteriors, if I'd been more alliterative there, and it says I watch it for the plot. And I'm kind of hoping that it's a bit more ironic in that way. But yeah, there could be people that totally are like, oh yeah, man, that flank.
Well, we do already hear that flank enough, but yeah, I do think it's taken in jest. It's just even to the point that those two move together, and you'll see that plot. Like it is kind of turned into this own thing where plot has become.
It's like, if you look on DeviantArt, you've got John Jaceko and a lot of his stuff. It's Celestia in a maid outfit. And, and it's just like that plot.
How does that make you feel, Chef? How does this make you feel? Does
it makes me wonder why putting clothes on them somehow makes them sexy and naughty.
It does. It really does.
They're normally naked, but putting clothes on makes it worse.
It does. It's so bizarre. Oh, you just click an image. It's like, wait, Seth has a saw. Wait, it's got clothes. This is weird. I need to go home. I need an adult. This is bad. So yeah, that's plot. If you like plot, well, okay, good for you. You guys are so weird.
Well, it's funny is he did, Celestia as a maid, did a series set, then he did Luna as a maid, then he did Twilight as a maid, and it's like...
He likes maids.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. So, as said, we have our awesome friend here, willing to talk a little bit about VO, and also his eternal love for My Little Ponies. I guess before we do that, since you wanted to expunge, we could go ahead and do it again. How much do you love the show? Do you like it a lot? I'm just curious.
Oh, I love it.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, is it 20% cooler?
It's 20%.
Okay, there.
It has made my life 20% cooler. Like the car made my life 20% cooler.
Boom. Okay.
Dash.
So let's do this. I'm sure, because I listen to enough stuff and I've asked this question enough times I'm sure there's one question you always hear, number one, somebody comes up to your table, it's just like, here, let me get into character. Oh, hi, Josh. It's really cool to see you. Anyway, I wanted to know, I really like animation too, and I really would. How do you do it? How do you voice act? It sounds cool.
How do you become a voice actor?
Yeah. Can I do it?
Receive a line. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. It's just a matter of good attitude, experience under your belt, and luck. A lot of luck. Kind of being at the right place at the right time and the people that you know. Yeah, I get that question a lot. It is kind of the number one question that you receive, especially at conventions. But truth of the matter is there's really no one way to do it, to become a voice actor. And there's many, many paths to take to reach that goal. Kind of like about as many as there are in the world of acting itself. I would say, so what is something that you're really, because I know that you've mentioned that you really want to get into voiceover work as well. So, what is some way that you thought that you might approach it?
Well, okay, I'm going to take this from my side, and then I know that there's the way that some of the listeners and some other people inside the community have done it. I'm just going to just go up based off of what I have. Okay. One, insane about animation. Me hosting a podcast about ponies is probably a good example of it. But it's just one of the things of this. Also, you hear a lot. People tell me I have a good voice. But it's just one of the things of like, if I've got this mindset of like, okay, I don't care about being rich. I just want to do something that I'm passionate about. Even if it means the bills are a little bit tighter, I need to do something creative, and I need to do something where I'm putting a creative part of myself out there. I can't draw. I can't play an instrument yet, anything like that. But the one thing I can do really well is talk and act like a moron. So
those are two pretty big criteria.
So,
I mean, hey.
So what happened is when I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, one of the first things I did was I was trying to find stuff to occupy my time once I got a kind of good job. And there is a voice acting place here called Voice One, which is really, really awesome people, have some really great workshops. I actually end up, one of my teachers is the same guy that does Launchpad McQuack from Dark Duck, and I was just like, when I found that out, I was like, you are so good. Oh God, you were my childhood. So
seriously,
dude,
DuckTales, man.
Oh, dude, so good. Woo!
Those were the first words I ever spoke in this life, were DuckTales, woohoo.
I believe it. Tell you what, I'm going to believe it. It can be. Yeah. Can it be the last? Dude. Can it be the last words in your life? That way, it links up. We could just put it on the gravestone. DuckTales, woo, beginning and end.
Oh my! It could be. Yeah, it could be. Just go full circle, or my last words could just be Celestia, take me.
Onward to Equestria.
Onward to Equestria.
So
works for me.
Very cool. Yeah, and so I started doing that. I kind of slacked off, but I thought the number one way I could kind of get a little bit more mic time was doing a podcast, because I need to talk. Yeah. I have some other extraneous stuff about, being hard to get times, and I'm kind of in a spot where it's like, well, I could kind of start getting out there, but I need non-union work, and, I've definitely got the study. It's now the act of doing on my side. Right. Where I just have to get that level of experience. But I'm kind of in that spot where it's like, okay, I think I've got it. I've got to mess up enough times that I, get in that spot. But I'm pretty much at the point where I'm like, okay, when I'm 30, I want to quit my job and start this insane path. So I know it's a year and a half. Huh? Yeah, I know. That's not a lot of time. Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's approaching. Yeah, it'll get there quick.
If I keep going, well, I'll do that someday. I'll be 60 years old going, I'll be a voice actor, I swear.
Well, I'll tell you this. From what you were saying is, it's good that you don't want to be rich, because you're not going to do it. You're not going to get that being VA anyway. There's a saying that we have. Especially those of us that do voice work, kind of in video games and anime, we make about as much money per year as the little old lady that says "Welcome to Walmart," but she gets benefits and we don't. Mm-hmm. That's very accurate. That's kind of hitting the nail right on the head. So it very much is a labor of love, and you kind of need that. If it's something that you just want to do because you want to have that creative outlet in your life, because you want to be able to have something at the end of the day that you can say, you know what, I made something really special that is near and dear to me, and I'm going to put that out there. You don't necessarily have to get yourself into VA in any sort of professional level. I mean, you don't have to be out there trying to get an agent or trying to do voice for the next show on Cartoon Network. You can do what, tons and tons of fans and people do every single day, and that's creating their own content, like doing Flash cartoons and voicing them themselves. And I mean, look at Ego Raptor, for God's sakes. Yeah, there's like I said, there's many different paths. If, however, going into acting is something that you want to do as a means of either extra income or as an actor, or trying to go the path of being an actor professionally full time, say this right now, you're almost never going to be an actor full time, because it's one of the hardest things on the planet because you're going up against every single other person out there who wants to be an actor in that area. I mean, if you're going to an audition for something, you're going to be going up against possibly hundreds of people. Every time I audition for a new show up at Funimation, I'm going up against 300 or 400 other actors, all of which could very easily be much better for the part that I'm auditioning for than I am. So there are going to be times where that's the big thing, is you have to be able to take rejection. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to roll with the punches and say, well, obviously I wasn't right for that. Better luck next time. What else?
Well, I had one little thing. So with all these negatives, what keeps you what keeps you doing it?
I love it. Mm-hmm. It was my childhood dream. It was the thing that when I was on a ski trip with my father and we were out there for one of his art shows, and ended up going on a little side ski trip, and we were there for a couple of days, and I'm sitting in this room. It was actually kind of like a ski school. The area that we were at actually had a school that taught the little kids how to ski, and they had a cafeteria and everything. And I'm in the cafeteria, and I'm with one of the classmates that I had made that I'd made friends with that day. And her father comes in and sits down, and I was a kooky, hyper freaking kid, and always doing voices. I'd always been imitating cartoons and everything. And I'm sitting there, and I do my Donald Duck impression. Just sitting there, and I'm talking with this kid, and she just kind of gives me this. I'll never forget it. This kid is maybe 6 years old, like me, and she gives me this kind of long side look that's just like, really, you're gonna throw out Donald Duck? And she points to her dad and goes, "My dad actually voices Donald Duck." And the guy immediately just bursts out in the Donald Duck voice, going, "Yep, I sure do." And it's the guy who played Donald Duck on Quack Pat.
Wow!
And it was the coolest thing. And I remember that was the moment that I really remember going, I want to do that. I want to do that as a job when I grow up. I want to be the kid I'm kooky and insane right now. I want to be able to harness this and just sit in a little box and scream into a microphone and do voices and get paid to do it. And that's just kind of how what I set out to do. And of course, I had my misconceptions about the whole thing. You always view something like this in a much grander light, especially when you've been a fan of it for so long. And getting into it, successfully breaking into it, you kind of had the walls break down for a bit, because it's not as grand as I at least thought it would be. But that I came to realize it was just as enjoyable, and every bit as enjoyable, if not more so, than I had ever hoped it would be. And it's something that for the last 7.5 years has made my life worth living, has been something that I absolutely adore. And I love being able to say, yeah, I get to go into work every day and be a different person.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, and that's totally awesome, because, anybody who's like me that, their entire life was just making silly voices and doing, just being a general idiot, was right. Was just great stuff. I mean, and you got your good, you got your bad. I mean, you were telling us about your second job you picked up, which is kind of awesome.
Oh yeah, I figured that was going to be my one cool thing.
Oh, okay, I'll hold that. We can
decided
that.
That'll be the one cool thing.
Okay,
but
cool.
Yeah, but yes, there are negatives, and really, in all honesty, especially right now, especially for anybody listening who wants to, any pony out there who wants to get into anime voice work, or isn't all interested in that, it's the industry itself is in the greatest position right now to try to go after that path, because of there's so many companies, the actual Japanese production companies, that have been shutting down the last couple of years because of no money going into any of their franchises. But they're slowly picking things back up, which is great. It's a lot busier than it's been in a few years, thankfully. But if voice acting for anime or for cartoons is something that you want to get into, the best advice I can give to anybody wanting to start out is to just get acting experience. Don't worry about your voice. Don't worry about anything like that. Just worry about getting performance experience underneath your belt. Go join if you've got a college or a school nearby you, if you're in high school or middle school, and if your school has a theater program, join it next semester. If you have a college or some sort of community theater, or even a church group that offers performance classes during the summer, go do that. Community theater is something that I did for close to 15 years, and that's where I got the bulk of my experience. And even for my first audition, voice work wise, I thought, looking back now, I was terrible back then, even after 15 years of experience on stage. But without that 15 years of experience, I probably would never even gotten called back. It's nice to have, you got to have that ammunition in your gun going in, because you get one shot. when you have an audition for any sort of voice thing, that it's your one shot, and if you blow it, and it's gone, and you have to hope that maybe another audition will come along someday somehow, but it might not be with that company that you just the audition that you just blew.
Yeah. And the number one thing, and I learned this just through my classes, you can come in walking going like, it's talking, this is, there's not anything to this. All you do is you just go, hey, here's my silly voice. Right. After a day of like intensive thing, like, no, you are giving it your all. And if you aren't making it. Like you are putting all the energy into it, and doing that for hours. Oh God, it was so exhausting.
You have to fully commit yourself to that character and to whatever crazy kooky stuff is going to be coming out of their mouth. And you have to be able to make that believable too, as believable as possible.
And it's just trying to stick that, especially if it's a high energy character. Like I could only imagine like the VO sessions with Pinkie Pie, that her VO just collapses and falls asleep. Having to be that energetic. Oh boy, it's such a hard thing to keep in a harness and just do it. It shocked me.
It really can be. I mean, there is, I guess, a good example I could throw out there when I was recording Baka and Test. The character that I play in that show is super hyper. Not only is he super hyper and completely off his rocker, he's incredibly high pitched. So, and he screams everything. He's always yelling, because that's just the tenure of the show, I guess. That's the tone. But I lost my voice every single time recording that character. For the first 12 episodes that we did, we would do it in like 6 to 8 hour increments every other day, and I would lose my voice every time that I came back in. And he's such an energetic and usually very hyper and very happy character, at least from the get-go, where it's all kooky zany. If you go in, if you've had like a really bad day starting out, before you get into the booth, you have to be able to push aside everything in your head and your heart and anywhere that is anything that is going to pull you away from what that character is supposed to be. You have to be able to ignore it, and you have to be able to completely shove it out of the way and go and say, okay, I've had a crappy day, but I have to be this super happy sunshine character right now. And if you can't do that, if you can't pull that off, you're not going to get work.
Yeah, and I think that's great stuff, because we can finally start looping this back around to ponies. That's something with a lot of the VO work that I'm hearing out there, especially with a lot of the fan projects. There's tons of people who want to help. Tons of people that, are just like, I love the show. I need to contribute. And I listen to the fan stuff. I'm like, that's good. They need to work. They need to really, they're going at it just like, hi, this is the voice for this character. Like, no, I need you to, you got to sell it.
You have to sell it.
So, like as said, I have this listed here. So there's a lot of voice projects. I know that there's games, and we've got people reading novels and stuff. What would your suggestions be for those people who are like, hey, I want to read this fic, or what can they do to really just kind of kick that up?
All right, are you talking about like reading? Just on tape type stuff, or are you talking about people who just who are like reading fanfic?
Let's do character stuff. What could they do character stuff wise? If they're trying to do an OC of somebody's stuff, and just like, okay, I need a voice for this character. Yep.
If they're trying to come up with a voice for like either their own original character or somebody else's.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say this. This is true in the professional voice world as well. Don't try to go with a kooky voice of any kind when you're starting out, especially when you're trying to come up with a voice for a new character. Try to focus more on the personality of that character, where they're coming from. If you have a backstory or any sort of information on them, take that into account. And find the emotion first, and then work on the voice. And don't try to go don't try to be like, well, I want this character to sound like Pinkie Pie, and don't do your Pinkie Pie impression. Use your voice. Start with most of the work that I do and that many other VAs do is not because I can sound like Mickey Mouse or that I can sound like Homer Simpson. They already got somebody that can do Mickey Mouse. I've already got a voice for Homer Simpson. They're looking for a unique voice. And whether you believe it or not, your voice is unique. Most of the work that we do is either my voice right here as it is, maybe a little bit higher, or maybe a little bit lower. It's barely any change at all, just here or there. That's what people are looking for. And once you find the character within that range and you're comfortable with that character, then you can start to mold that voice into something that is a little bit more cartoony, like, especially since you're doing an OC pony. You can work towards something that is like Pinkie Pie, but don't just start out doing like your Pinkie Pie impression or your Rainbow Dash impression or anything like that. Use your voice, your own unique voice, and then work from there. That's pretty much the only thing that I can say at that for something like that.
Okay, super cool. Chef, did you have anything? I know as I have been stating, I was going to be the mic hog this episode, but did you have anything on your side?
No, I was just gonna say, I've done some fan fiction reading just sort of for fun. Mm-hmm. I've never really considered doing like voice acting or whatever as a profession, but it's just something I like to do, and producing stories, reading stories for people, stuff I like specifically, that way people can listen to it on an iPod or whatever.
Right.
But it's not something I look to do professionally. This is definitely something that AC was like, oh my god, I've got to talk to him. And I'm all like, fantastic. Good job.
He might know me well. It's something with the show. I can get a little excitable.
Dude, it's not a problem. Trust me.
Yeah, it's a condition of mine. But no, it's super cool. I guess the one last thing is like, I'll go back into nerd guy. So are you friends with any of the pony voice actors? Are they cool?
I'm friends with one who was in one of the episodes. Scott McNeil is a really good friend of mine. He's up in Canada. He was the voice of the chief of the buffalo in Over a Barrel.
Oh, cool.
And I haven't got to talk to him I haven't seen that guy in a couple of years. He's kind of been sticking to Canada, but next time he comes down to Texas for a con or whatever have you, I'm gonna ring him out and be like, dude, you're a buffalo in My Little Pony. That's awesome.
That was very good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed his period in the show.
Exactly.
That's very cool. Yeah, that's I like that. Those things make me happy. All right. Well, I think that I'm sure that there's tons we could go more off of, and I could just lose my brain on more questions. But I think I'll just leave it as is. Okay. And we could always, have more fun later.
Sure. So
let's do this. Let's wrap this up with our one cool thing. I have a very cool thing. I'm sure every pony remembers when on episode 7. When we had our great friend, and God, I need to get him back on here, Eurobeat Brony.
Nice.
And you want to talk about a guy who just threw out some voices. Yeah. He definitely did some. So he made that little like Bronyville the movie, or My Little Pony the movie, and some great guy just went, hey, I went and put some scenes to it, and now there's this awesome video. So you can go check Bronyville the movie. It's only got like 40-something views right now, but God, it's so cool. I thought it was so awesome.
I'm totally going to check that.
Oh, it's so fun. It was just that little clip of him just doing his voice, and oh man, I had just warmed this cold, dark, over-talking heart. Yeah, that's very cool. So that's my cool thing. Go check it out. It's only like 30 seconds long, and you can find it in the show notes. And now, Chef Sandy, what do you have?
All right. Well, mine is another podcast. It's called Friendship is Madness. It is another podcast that actually has female hosts full time.
What?
Which I know.
Sorry.
You could.
Ladies like this show? I don't get it.
Well, I should really not say it. But anyways, they've got 2 episodes out, and they're pretty short. One's 56 minutes. One's, I think, 38. And they do it a little bit differently than us. I've not had the opportunity to listen to it, but I figure, hey, it's a new show. Give them a chance. And maybe we can completely destroy their bandwidth.
There you go. Let's DOS them to death with subscriptions. You know,
nice.
DOS them with love and friendship.
Absolutely.
No DOSing. No DOSing. But very cool. Always cool to have more pony podcast show, web show things going around. Super cool. So Rainbrony, what do you have? I alluded to it earlier.
Oh yes, the part-time job. This will only affect a few bronies, but this was something that I decided I just kind of wanted to do because as a VA, we don't do anything on weekends, and usually sometimes during the week you have very little to do. I was just sitting around with a ton of free time. I was like, you know what, I want to do something special. I want to do something that could potentially be very fun and also bring some happiness to people. So I found this amazingly cool job for a place called Tiff's Treats. They have locations in Austin, Texas, and in Dallas, and they're currently hiring, and I know they have plans to open up some stores in some other cities very soon in Texas. It is one of the coolest jobs I've ever had. I get to drive around in my new Dashmobile, listening to pony music all day and delivering freshly baked boxes of happy of cookies and brownies and assorted other treats to people all over the Dallas area, a lot of which I actually deliver to Baylor Medical Center, the hospitals over there. And it's one of the coolest things ever to be able to walk in and hand somebody who's sick or is in a lot of pain and may be alone because their family doesn't live near there, to be able to walk in and give them a gift from those people who couldn't be there and to see them light up, just completely light up, is one of the greatest things ever. And in the spirit of Pinkie Pie, I implore any one of you who is looking for a job or is looking for maybe something a little bit extra you can help out with, look up Tiff's Treats, go to cookiedelivery.com and put in a job application. You will not regret it. I guarantee you. Plus, there's plenty of good money to be made from tips as well.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Check it out.
I'm looking at it now, and that's seriously right down the street from me.
Really?
The Addison store is right down the street from me.
Yeah, dude, check it. Yeah, I work at the downtown one, man. Come check it out. I work weekends there. Come on down. Give you some cookies.
Sweet.
Brony's making connections. By the way, do you guys... Connections.
That's the point of it.
Do you guys sell muffins?
No, that was my big thing. I was like, please tell me that you sell muffins or cupcakes, either one. But no, it's all cookies, brownies, and ice cream.
Yeah, get them to branch out. That way you can be our derpy deluxe.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude.
They do have some M&M ones, so you can taste the rainbow. Well, not quite.
Wow.
Rainbow coloration. Yeah. I don't think Skittles cookies would be very good. That'd be kind of terrible.
Skittles cookies would not be great. I don't know. I'll have to try that.
I'm trying to come up with a combination where a Skittle cookie would work. I'm not finding any right offhand.
Sugar cookie. Just go with a sugar cookie and Skittles, man. You don't need any extra flavoring. Yeah. The Skittles give you all your flavor.
Yeah, I guess so. That could kind of work. I would want them all of one flavor, though. You get too much of a mishmash if you just dropped them all in at once.
Right.
I'm being picky. So yeah, very, very cool. That's awesome. Have them branch out into muffins, though.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. Dude, they're growing real quick. You never know. They're almost to the point of being, instead of just being a little collection of stores, they're turning in kind of a corporation themselves, and it's pretty cool. So I have to be like, yes, we must go into muffins. We must go into cupcakes.
See,
we must get the My Little Pony licensing, but that's exciting. You must. That was ponies. That's a lot of ponies. All right. Well, we are at the end of this page. At the end of this page is where I write my dear Princess Celestia letter, so that means that it's obviously the end of the show. Thank you very, very much, Josh / Rainbrony, for coming in. It is very cool.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It was an absolute blast.
Talk VA. Maybe we can have you on, or we can rub connections and have
Dude,
see, like,
totally. Anytime that you'd like me back on the show, or even just to help out, I'm all for it. I mean, I'm here because of my pony love and my pony fandom. So anything I can do to help out, you just let me know.
Super cool, bro hoof on that. Super, super cool. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you want to find out more, look at some of the articles we have. Find all the shows. Why don't you go over to BronyShow.com and pick up the podcast and all the other neatness that we have going on. Also, definitely we are on iTunes. If you do the iTunes downloads or on any other service, please leave us star reviews and please leave us reviews. We're actually kicking up there on the ratings a little bit. It's hard to get in. You could imagine it does get a little bit difficult trying to rank in the TV show podcasts, but maybe one day we'll do it.
Yeah.
And, just keep sending reviews. You guys are super awesome, as always. Can't tell you how amazing it is having this podcast and having you guys as just the most gracious listeners I could ever ask for. You guys rock. And
fantastic.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and sign it out. Thanks, everyone, for listening. BronyShow.com. Keep your ears peeled and sleep well, bronies.
Adios.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.